Hi everyone, this is Annindita Palaus, and today I am doing something very different on my channel that I've never done before. I have here a very special guest, Dr.Larissa Smith, who is a national board-certified licensed acupuncturist practicing here in St. Petersburg, Florida. She obtained her master's degree in Oriental Medicine from the East West College of Natural Medicine in Sarasota, and she offers a variety of services such as cold laser therapy, fire cupping, Chinese herbal medicine, microneedling, injection therapy, just to name a few. So, Larissa, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I know how busy you are, so I really appreciate you taking out the time for us and for being here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to be here to talk about what I love doing.
Me too. So, I'm really curious, Larissa, what inspired you to get into Chinese medicine?
What inspired me was really, a lifelong appreciation of natural remedies, herbal medicine, just like the more natural approach to treating ailments. My grandmother was really into like treating stuff with natural medicine. My stepmother was into Western herbalism, and I've always had an appreciation for Asian culture, so that was just something I've always been fond of. And I started out my career in the tech industry, working with electronic medical record software, doing like training and implementation. So I did that for almost a decade. And then I decided I needed to do something different. I needed to help people in a different way. So I started studying Chinese herbalism with a local acupuncturist and herbalist in St. Pete, Dr. Bob Lindy. He's an awesome herbalist. He's like the herb guru. He knows everything about herbs. So I had the good fortune of studying with him for a year before deciding I just wanted to go to acupuncture school to learn more than just herbalism. I could do more things with acupuncture and all the other adjunct therapies that we learn in school.
Wow, that's really exciting. So, can you explain for our viewers? I know most people know what acupuncture is, but I would just want to hear from you. How would you explain what is acupuncture for those who don't really know?
So acupuncture is originates from China. It started 3,000 to 4,000 years ago in China, and it's a medicine that has developed over time. And we have come to know that there's 12 main acupuncture channels that run throughout the body, and the theory is that we have energy that flows through the channels, and sometimes that energy can get stuck, whether it's due to trauma, emotions, or other things. Whenever that energy gets stuck, we can either get symptoms of pain. That's one of the main symptoms, is pain, or emotional disruption. By using acupuncture needles, we manipulate the chi, or the energy that flows through the channels, to get them unstuck. We want everything to flow freely, so we eliminate pain and disease by moving chi and blood that's stagnated. And Chinese herbal medicine is used hand in hand with that. And also moxibustion, which I'll show you later. Moxibustion is also used hand in hand with acupuncture in Asia. It really helps to heal the person, mind, body, spirit, because we are all one connected being. So there's no delineation between mind, body, and spirit in Chinese medicine. So one thought is that the emotions are the number one cause of disease. And that's something I also address with patients. I make sure that they have something that they do to regulate that, whether it's exercise, daily meditation, qigong. So I do diet and lifestyle advice with my treatments to make sure that when the patient leaves my clinic, they are able or are aware of things that they can do to take care of themselves after the treatments to, continue their health.
Wow.
Their road
Okay,
to
so you
health.
have a very holistic approach towards healing.
Yes.
It's awesome. So you were talking about using needles. So is it painful?
And no, it's not supposed to be painful.
And I
And
know a lot of people are really scared of the needles.
this is true. A lot of people are very afraid to even give it a try. But in reality, the needles that I use are so fine. They're like the size of a cat's whisker. They're tiny. They're nothing like a sewing needle or a hypodermic needle that you would get an injection with. They're really small. My needling technique is gentle. A lot of people remark about how it's not painful, and they often will fall asleep during treatment and start snoring. And I call it a little acu nap. So it really isn't painful, and I encourage people to just give it a try.
Exactly.
And
I have tried myself acupuncture and it isn't painful at all. Although initially I know I was scared, so I just had to ask that question for my other viewers. I know many people are scared of the needles initially, but yes, it's not painful at all. That has been my personal experience too. And
yeah, and
another,
commonly like things that you feel when you're getting acupuncture can be sensations like a dull, achy, heavy sensation where the needles go, or
Mhm.
like a quick zing, as I call it, up and down the acupuncture channel,
Right,
warmth, tingling, pulsation of energy. Sometimes you may not feel anything at all, and that's okay.
right, yeah. Yeah, that has been my personal experience too. And is it true that acupuncture only treats stress and back pain? Or do you think it can be used to treat anything?
Um, a lot of patients that I meet, like who haven't had acupuncture before, are surprised to learn that I can treat pretty much anything. So I can treat stress, pain, psycho-emotional disorders, PTSD. Um, Acupuncture is great at treating women's healthcare issues, um, uh, pregnant women who may have issues in pregnancy like nausea, vomiting. It's great with that, and it also helps with promoting labor when that time comes.
Oh,
And there's also techniques that I use with moxibustion, which is a warming herb that can help turn a breech fetus in pregnant women at a specific week of pregnancy, which is really cool.
wow.
Um, but one interesting thing that I'll tell you is that the Health Organization in 1979 launched a symposium on acupuncture, naming 43 diseases that acupuncture can treat. But now they are saying that acupuncture does treat over 100 diseases.
Oh, wow.
So that's what I love about this medicine that I practice. I can
Mhm.
treat pretty much anything with the needles and the herbal formulas that I have, so that your body is capable and hardwired to self-heal. So sometimes the body just gets um, out of whack. It needs a gentle reminder or a push in the right direction to get back on track and start healing.
Hmm. Wow, that's really interesting. So, acupuncture is not really a placebo then, or is there a placebo element involved in it?
There's some people that are skeptical. They say it's nothing but a placebo effect. And I mean, the placebo effect is a real thing. That is something that happens, but acupuncture does work. And we know that because, um, take, for example, dogs, cats, horses. There's veterinary acupuncture that they treat those types of patients with acupuncture, and they get better. And so dogs and cats and horses we know are not biased. So when we see that they receive acupuncture treatments and get better afterwards, we can see right there that that's evidence. And we can also see in clinical trials with human patients, the efficacy of acupuncture is definitely real.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting that you spoke about, the animals and then humans and even infants, because I talk about the same thing about Reiki too when people ask if it's placebo, because I've been a Reiki practitioner. And yes, that's the exact example that I talk about myself, that even if you believe that it's placebo, but animals, they don't have that bias and it still works on them. So that just proves that it is not placebo. So yeah, that was a great example you gave. So how many treatments would you say it usually takes with acupuncture to heal something? Because I often see that people tend to believe that, one treatment should cure everything. What has been your experience?
Well, everyone's different, and I go by a case basis. And once I see somebody, I give them an idea as to a treatment plan, how many sessions they'll need. Usually, when you have a disease you've had for a long period of time, chronically, it takes longer to reverse that. Acute conditions like a back sprain, those can be treated usually one treatment, 2, maybe 3. So it really just depends. And what also is a contributing factor is diet and lifestyle.
Right.
And I give TCM food therapy advice for people. So traditional Chinese medicine looks at food from an energetic standpoint, which is a little different from Western medicine. So I incorporate that into my treatment plans. And I always recommend people start with 1 or 2 treatments a week for the first week or 2, and to be consistent, because treatments are cumulative, and they'll see a progression over time. It's very rare that one treatment will miraculously cure someone. It happens sometimes, but not all the time. So I just tell people, be consistent, do the recommended treatments, and you'll see results. And one thing that I've noticed with people who just try it once and then don't continue the treatments, they'll say, "Oh, I tried it, acupuncture doesn't work." But the reality is they didn't adhere to the recommended treatment plan, or their acupuncturist didn't communicate what was actually needed for that person to get better, a good treatment plan.
Right, right. And I get it, because even when you go to a regular doctor, you usually have to make a couple of visits and take the medications every single day, do what they prescribed every single day. So it's just like that, any other kind of medicine too. Like there has to be consistency and some amount of discipline involved. Absolutely. Great. And is acupuncture expensive? Because that is another common thing that I hear people saying that, oh, it's very expensive. And my healthcare doesn't, my insurance provider does not insure. So what do you think about that?
That is a concern that a lot of people have, is that it's going to be really expensive, that they're not going to be able to afford it. And it does depend on who you see, how much they charge. If they offer like a package of sessions at a reduced rate. But what really matters is that you address a health issue that you have early, and don't let it fester or get worse over time before you finally address it, because at that point it becomes worse. You're going to have to need more medical intervention. So the body gives signs and symptoms in many ways, and I tell people, don't ignore those signs and symptoms, because that's your body's way of saying, hey, I need attention here, I need help. So I like to have patients come in for maintenance treatments, just to make sure everything is fine-tuned, that nothing gets out of control, disease doesn't start manifesting more and more symptoms, because the more and more symptoms you have, the more complex an issue may become, and then that's when things get more expensive, because you need more treatments. But what I'm excited about my clinic here is that I'm a hybrid clinic. What that means is I offer private sessions, which gives me more one-on-one time with a patient. So more in-depth consultation and treatment. And then I also have community style acupuncture. What that means is that it's an open forum, an open space. I've got 5 comfy lounge chairs where people can sit and get treated. So I can treat more patients in an hour, and that helps bring the cost down a
Mm-hmm.
lot significantly for the patient. So some of my patients will go in between private session and community whenever they feel like they need more attention, and then they can do their maintenance treatments in the community clinic
Mm.
at a reduced rate. And I have it on a sliding scale.
Okay.
So the patient it's up to the patient to decide what they're able to pay. And I have a guideline to kind of give them an idea of uh, what they should pay based on household income, but I don't do any income verification. I leave it entirely up to the patient to decide. So they pay and then get a treatment in community clinic. So it really gives people a great option. It opens the door for many people in the community to receive acupuncture when they otherwise wouldn't be able to afford it at all. So I'm really excited to offer that here in St.
Oh, wow,
Pete.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
makes it affordable for people so much more. Yes. That's
Mhm.
really a great idea to offer community acupuncture sessions. Awesome.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit more in detail the various services that you offer? And I mean, I mentioned a few of them in the beginning, but some people might not even know what those services actually are, what benefits they can expect from that.
Yeah, so I offer a lot more than just acupuncture and herbal medicine. I do um uh something called gua sha, which I'll show you. A gua sha tool. Basically, it's either a jade or a stone tool that I use with an oil liniment. So I use it frequently with this pain relieving herbal oil um for people that have neck tension, arthritis in their fingers, plantar fasciitis in the bottom of the foot. So gua sha is a great adjunct therapy. I do moxibustion. Um, moxa, as we call it, it's an herb called mugwort, and it comes in different forms. And I have a smokeless moxa stick that I use in clinic. Um, there's some that you put right on top of a needle
Oh,
and burn it. And then there's one that you stick right on the skin on a specific acupuncture point. So it doesn't actually, we're not burning the patient. What it does, it's providing like a therapeutic warmth to specific areas of the body. And I use it a lot like on the abdomen to help people that have IBS, digestive issues, on the back for people that have low back pain or incontinence or impotence. So it helps people, older people, helps with aging issues. I use it on a point on the lower leg that really helps tonify and strengthen the person's uh, metabolism and overall energy. So that's another great thing that I use. Also, I do microneedling, facial rejuvenation. So I treat children too with AccuLaser. So it's something that I use instead of needles for kids that don't want to try the needles.
right.
It's basically a cold laser pen that I put on specific acupuncture points. It stimulates the points just like a needle would, but there's no it's not scary. So that's what I do for kids. And then I also do what we call ear seeds. Ear seeds are something that I put on the ear on specific points. It's literally just a seed on the back of like a little Band-Aid sticker. And I have one that come in different skin tones and also pretty ones that are crystals.
I think
If
that's
you want
pretty.
to do a bling, they're really pretty. So those are fun. So yeah, I put them on the ear in specific points. And it's kind of like a reflexology for the ear. If you've seen a reflexology chart of the hands or feet,
Mhm.
it's kind of the same concept where putting them on specific points to address musculoskeletal pain or issues with the internal organs. And I have a little chart here just to show you points on the ear that relate to the musculoskeletal system. So I can basically address every point on the body by using points on the ear, either with needles
Wow,
or ear seeds. So I
that's
use
very
that a
cool.
lot. I use that every day in clinic. So yeah, so I use herbal medicine as well, which is great. I have patients that are taking herbal medicine for everything from pain due to traumatic accident, insomnia, headaches, menstrual pain. I have a large selection of patent formulas to address different things. So yeah, I'm excited about the herbal medicine. That's like my first love. That's what got me into acupuncture in the first place, was the herbs.
Hmm. Interesting. Oh, that's a whole lot of services that you offer, and they all sound amazing. So tell my viewers, how can they reach out to you? What would be the best way to reach out? Is it by phone? Do you have a website? How can they book a session with you?
Yeah, I recommend looking at my website. I've got all my contact info there. Patients can book appointments right online. They can see what's available on my schedule and save their spot, either for community clinic or private session. They can call or text me at 727-222-6980. They can email me at contact@drlarasmith.com. And my website is drlarasmith.com.
Great.
And
And I
I'm
will
very,
also have your contact information and your website at the video description below, so
Mhm.
people can always click on that and reach out to you.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Larissa, for being on this show and for spending your time and sharing all the valuable information with me and the viewers. I really appreciate your time once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Annie. It was a pleasure to speak to you about all that stuff.
Thanks.